Hello, I'm going to be recording for the second time because the video was very low volume, so now I'm going to try to make this better. Good afternoon, my name is Pearl. As a U.S. Navy veteran, I've learned that not all wounds bleed. Some stay in your mind long after the uniform comes off. Today, I'm going to discuss why veterans experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder should receive mandatory mental health screenings and improved access to treatment when transitioning out of military service. Thousands of service members return to civilian life each year, and while many successfully integrate, a significant amount of the members face physiological challenges caused by exposure to trauma, combat stress, and the rapid shift from military structure to civilian independence. Addressing this issue is not only important for veterans' health, but also for their families, communities, and the nation that relies on them. As a U.S. military veteran, I have first-hand exposure to the challenges service members face while transitioning out of active duty, especially concerning mental health. I have witnessed how PTSD can affect not only veterans themselves, but also their ability to maintain relationships, family stability, and employment, and overall quality of life. Additionally, many veterans, including myself, have experienced difficulty of navigating the VA disability process, long wait times for mental health services, and the struggle of having legitimate PTSD symptoms and overlooked or undercompensated. These experiences provide me both with personal understanding and informed insight into how the current system falls short in supporting those who have served. First, I'll explain what PTSD is and why veterans are at risk. Next, I'll show how untreated PTSD harms veterans and society. Finally, I'll share solutions, mandatory PTSD screening, and expanded treatment programs through the VA. Before we can fix anything, we must first understand the problem. What is PTSD and why our veterans are at high risk? PTSD is a mental health condition caused by experiencing or witnessing trauma, such as combat, death, or explosions. According to the National Institute of Mental Health in 2022, symptoms include nightmares, flashbacks, anger, hypervigilance, avoidance, guilt, insomnia, and emotional numbness. In Harvard Medical School in 2023, this explains how trauma can keep the brain stuck in fight or flight mode. Veterans may react to fireworks, loud noises, crowded stores, or even driving because their brains are still thinking that they are in danger. Many veterans avoid help due to stigma, fear of appearing weak, or concerns about losing clearance or career opportunities. The transition process focuses on paperwork and medical checks, but rarely includes mandatory mental health evaluations, leaving many veterans untreated. The military culture teaches veterans to just push it through, so many do not recognize PTSD symptoms until relationships, jobs, or safety are at risk. Now that we understand what PTSD is, we need to talk about what happens when it's ignored. Why is PTSD a serious problem? According to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, in 2024, 17 veterans die by suicide every day, more than 6,000 per year. Rand Corporations reports that 50% of veterans with PTSD never receive treatment due to fear, lack of awareness, or frustration with the VA system. PTSD strains relationships. Veterans become withdrawn, irritable, emotionally distant, which increases divorce rates and broken families. PTSD affects physical health. It's linked to high blood pressure, chronic pain, headaches, substance abuse, and self-harm. Many veterans turn to alcohol or drugs to cope with insomnia, panic, or guilt, which leads to addiction, domestic conflict, and financial problems. According to the U.S. Interagency Council of Homelessness, in 2023, Veterans make up 11% of the homeless adult population in America. PTSD, unemployment, and lack of support are major causes. Veterans often struggle to navigate the VA disability claim process. They must provide proof that their trauma is service-connected, which is hard if records are missing or classified. Many are denied PTSD compensation or wait for months or years for approval, leaving them without financial support for therapy, medication, transportation, or housing. Long wait times discourage treatment. In some areas, veterans wait up to 3 to 6 months for a VA mental health appointment. Some give up entirely. These outcomes are preventable. So what can we actually do? Require mandatory PTSD screenings after deployment and before separation. Private mental health interviews, not just quick questionnaires. Screenings must be followed by real treatment, including CBT, EMDR therapy, medication when needed, group therapy, service dogs for severe anxiety. Increase VA mental health funding to hire more psychologists, psychiatrists, and social workers. Improve disability claim processing, simplify paperwork, accept witness statement from fellow service members, and flag combat veterans for automatic PTSD review. Educate family members on PTSD signs so they can help veterans instead of misunderstanding their behavior. Now let's bring everything together. In closing, PTSD among veterans is not just a military issue. It is a national responsibility. These are men and women who served their country, yet are left to fight invisible war when they return home. First, we learned what PTSD is, a psychological injury caused by trauma, often ignored because of stigma and lack of required mental health screenings. Second, we see how untreated PTSD leads to tragic consequences: suicide, addiction, broken families, homelessness, and veterans being denied disability benefits for timely care. Third, we discuss real, achievable solutions: mandatory PTSD screening for all transitioning members, expanded VA funding, and a faster disability claim approval, and a stronger community and family support system. If America is brave enough to send people into combat, then America is brave enough to care for when the battle is over. Veterans should not have to beg for help to prove their trauma or fight a new war against the very system that needs to protect them. We cannot bring back 17 veterans who die by suicide every day, but we can protect the ones that are still here. Mandatory PTSD screening and proper treatment is not a charity, it is a promise. A promise that if you serve this country will not abandon you. Thank you.